Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Steelheads Weekly with Darius Dominguez and Mark Freitas. Mark, how you doing this week, buddy?
I'm doing well on a Monday. The sun's still out, so we're doing pretty well. Days are getting longer, and hockey playoffs are right around the corner.
April is right around the corner, and that means OHL playoffs and NHL playoffs, which is exciting. But we'll focus on the NHL or the OHL here, and we got quite a few games to talk about. Like, underratedly, I forgot that the Steelheads played 4 games this week. Very busy week, and we're at the end here. I mean, after this episode, we're talking about playoff matchups. We're talking about the playoffs after this. So this is the last week of the regular season. They only have 2 games left, and it's still heating up in the East. We have no idea where anyone's going to finish until the last game. A lot of teams still have 3 games left, 4 games left. It's going to be crazy to end the season.
Yeah, no, and Mississauga has 2 games left.
Yeah.
So they need to make these games count because they're in a perfect position right now in the standings.
And you said it a long time ago, like when we first started recording, that, the rest of the way they kind of hold their fate in their hands, right? Like, this was already a couple weeks ago, and it's true. They played a lot of divisional matchups. And, I mean, the Steelheads have only lost 1 time in regulation since February 4th. That's almost 2 months ago at this point, a month and a half ago.
A long time.
At least that is a long time. They've been putting in some great work. And if they do lose, it's been in overtime. They've been playing some really, really good hockey. And like we mentioned from, JR's perspective, that we can see in these post-game videos that the Steelheads have been posting, he's letting them know this is the way it's got to be the rest of the way. Playoff hockey is hard. You got to come together as a group, and they're doing that.
They are, and that you can tell that there's a nice bond there with the team, especially when they're getting in scrums, coming in for guys. Even the goaltending thing involved.
Yes.
Leaners has a little feistiness to him. I think it was what game was it? I think it was Friday or the last home game I went to. It was against Oshawa.
Mm-hmm.
He got feisty with like one of the players. I'm like, you need that. Everyone's just buying it.
He was throwing his blocker around. You love to see that. I was even saying I like how Leanders kind of gets involved in that stuff. I just like it. I don't know. I do like
he just doesn't get into a fight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I do like a stoic goalie, but Leanders, when he starts throwing blockers around, it gets me excited. It gets the blood pumping, right? You like that. So.
But he's turning into prime Patrick Roy, just anger.
Yeah.
Straight up throwing hands.
I wanted to mention a few players before we got into the games, because we can talk about the games and sometimes it gets a little bit boring, right? But there are some big storylines with the last couple of games, especially in terms of playoff positioning, because things would look very different right now if that Oshawa game went differently. But to talk about some players, I mean, everyone's kind of coming together now, and guys are finding their roles, and I think that's exciting. We haven't seen Martone in a while. He's still out. Looks like he'll be back for game 1, whenever that may be and wherever that may be, because it's still possible that Steelheads do or don't finish with home ice or finish top of the conference, top of the division. So we'll just have to see how that plays out next week. We have no idea. Hopefully they win the division, get that second spot. But a few guys who stand out for me. I mean, Eggleton has been scoring in a depth role, which is great. He had 2 goals to win the game against Niagara, which was great for the Steelheads. Leskovar throws 1 gigantic hit a game now. Like,
start counting that.
Yeah, you got to start counting like the wow hits, because he is laying guys flat at least once or twice every single game. Getting in scrums, like you said, when they do get in scrums and the tough stuff happens, everyone's coming in for each other. So they're really bonding as a team. And another guy like Zabeski, when he came back from his injury, like a little bit of a slower start to get up to speed, but he's been great too.
He's been tearing it up. This guy has been scoring. He scored again yesterday.
Yep.
And what was the game sheet for Friday? I believe he got a couple points on Friday.
Friday he did not get any points, but he was a big factor against Brantford.
He was.
Yeah.
It was a big factor in Brantford. I think it was game was it? Let me pull it up here. Now I'm gonna have it on my tongue.
He did score again against Sarnia.
That's what I'm thinking. There's Sarnia, and then what about the school? No, that was the previous week. Oh yeah, so it was yesterday. Then he's just been tearing it up.
Yeah.
So these guys, like I said, they're all clicking at the right time. Even Van Bolsen's been doing well. He sniped one yesterday. 20 goals in the season already. 32 points last time I checked. and it's huge for the team. Like I've been
Definitely.
saying, depth needs to show up, and depth has shown up.
And another guy we barely mention, and I have to because again he's showing up on the score sheet now too. And when he first started playing, Gabe Sherrod, I looked at him as more of a like depth guy, maybe fourth line. He was going to come in and just eat a couple minutes here and there, dump the puck in, grind it down, stuff like that, right? Typical fourth
Yeah,
line, third line. But he has made himself, undeniable. Really, you can't take him out of the lineup. He's starting to chip in for goals here and there. He's picking up assists, and his shifts really don't are not useless. Like when he's out there, the puck is in deep in the opposing team's zone,
yeah.
right? And
He's
he's
getting in
putting
front
in
of the net.
yeah, and he's great in front of the net, and he's putting together really, really good shifts, and he's been very noticeable, honestly. Like, he has not been an afterthought at all. And like I said, when he first came in, I wasn't expecting anything of him, and, I wouldn't say his play reflected that. I thought he was putting in good work, back then, but it looks like he's finding his confidence, and that's really good for the Steelheads going forward. I've really liked his game, and he's continuing to get better. So just another guy to mention. And, there's the obvious players as well. Like Carmiras continues to put in good work. Locus is chipping in for points. Fibberger has been great too. Yeah.
He got 3 assists yesterday.
Yep.
I'm looking at the score sheet right now here. Boudreau has been also very good for the team.
Yes, Boudreau's chipping in here and there. And this is another guy in playoffs who I feel like Boudreau is going to play a huge role in whoever they play against. I think playoffs are going to be a little bit of a different animal. And again, one thing that's lost is this team is young, and they're playing that well, and I'm excited to see them in the playoffs.
You know who's been a sleeper that we haven't talked about?
Mm-hmm.
Angus MacDonald.
He's been great. He has been great.
He has 30 goals in the season already.
Yeah. Yeah, it's lost in that. I mean, he's catching up to Martone. I know Martone's been out.
Yeah.
But, a quiet 30 goals, like you said, right?
Zidlicky's then excellent as well. He's fast, that guy.
Yeah, underrated skater.
On Friday, he went from his end of the rink down to Niagara's end to almost. I believe he had a breakaway.
He did. He had a couple in that game. He had a couple.
Yeah, this dude's just flying.
Yep.
And he's like a compare him to Sperry Kapanen, except he has hands.
Yeah, I honestly in my time watching the OHL, which has been a long time already. There are not many guys to me that look like they work harder than he does. Like,
yeah.
At least when he's out there, right? Like he is just hustling. Like the way he skates and the way he gets in on the forecheck and he goes for hits. He's a physical player, competitive, right? You need that stuff. I do like his game. I just wish there was a little bit more finishing there, right? But he's a great player for them, and I think he's going to be an X factor up the middle again. But it's just everything seems to be coming together because they were first for a long time at the start of the season, but there's a lot of variables, like other teams are missing their top players, NHL camp, stuff like that, right?
World Juniors hit, and then they kind of fell off after that for a bit.
Yeah, so mid-season they were kind of teetering, and I was like, I'm not sure what to think. But where they're at right now, like since the start of February, everything is coming together at the right time, and they look great.
The goaltending deserves praise too.
Absolutely, yeah. And we focused on goaltending a lot last episode, too. And again, it's been great.
That's the thing. It's like, we focused on it, but like, Leaners has been playing great. They put Ivan Kovic in against Brantford not once but twice.
Mm-hmm.
He threw him to the Wolves and he came back and he won them both games. Dominated both games. He had a shutout. He had a shutout yesterday. It was 5-0 until they made it 5-1. So he's done well. I'm doing an article about the depth of the team, how they're doing well leading into the playoffs, and I mentioned how he's only played in 24 games, and the coach already trusts him in 24 games. How rare do you ever get to see a rookie get that?
It's not only how we barely see it, like you said, like to get 24 games as a rookie, a goaltender in this league, right? On the Steelheads, that isn't like to get past 10 games is crazy. Like this is a guy that they have the utmost trust in. And I feel like if anything was to happen in the playoffs, like Leanders is the guy in my eyes, right? 100% this year, he's the guy. But if anything was to happen, like an injury or they have to, like the team is falls flat in the first period, they go down a couple goals, they have to bring Ivan Kovic in or something. This is a guy that they can lean on, they can trust, right? They do. It shows. And like you said, He's played a lot considering he's a rookie and for the Steelheads based on their track record.
Yeah, and for once, they've done a goalie load management.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I could see. So they play Thursday, Friday.
Mhm.
Um, would you give Leaders the start Thursday and just kind of give Ivan Kovic home Friday?
I think so. Ivan
Because
Kovic's
normally
been.
teams do that.
I think Ivan Kovic has been very good against good teams that will put in like a lot of shots on goal, right?
Mhm.
And Leanders has been good, but I feel like he's getting more games against teams that don't get it too many shots. Like Niagara, for example, they get like 20-ish shots, 23 shots. So maybe you go with the hotter hand at the moment, which is Ivan Kovic, right? In terms of the workload, I guess. And you give him North Bay because North Bay, that game on Friday is huge. That's for seeding, honestly.
Yeah, and
that's
North
playoff
Bay did
matchup.
two in hand after that, I believe. No, they play. Yeah, North Bay I think plays Saturday as well. I
They
think they
have a
play
game
three and
afterward for
three.
sure. Yeah.
Way to check. Um, Pretty sure North Bay plays 3 and 3.
Hmm.
Let's see North Bay. OHL, fix your app by the way, because this is ridiculous. I'm having to go look through schedules. Also, little nitpick here: the stats in the OHL app need to be corrected. Um,
Yeah, sometimes they're different than the website. So,
yeah.
um,
Okay, here it is.
yeah.
So North Bay plays Wednesday against Barrie, Friday Mississauga, Sunday against the Peterborough Petes.
So that's what I'm talking about. So maybe
But
I've
they
been
did lose to Kingston in overtime yesterday.
right, but Peterborough is a worse team in my eyes than the Kingston Frontenacs. But not for anything, if a Pete's fan sees this, like, listen, you won the championship, okay? Relax. But
Also, Barrie does have Barrie had beaten North Bay
mhm.
twice this year. From what I've seen in the schedule, I'm gonna go through here and see how many other times. It looks like Barrie might. Oh no, they won that. Barrie looks like they play always hard against North Bay, so that's kind of a good sign there.
That is a good thing,
Yeah,
actually. Yeah.
Barry's beaten them a few times this year.
Well, one thing's for sure, we don't know what JR is thinking in terms of goaltending, but one thing is for sure, the same guy will not be starting Thursday and Friday. Each goalie will got to start.
You want to hear a cool stat?
Sure.
Barry's beaten North Bay in almost every game, but one.
That's crazy. Barry's given top
So,
teams very hard times this year. For
all
where they
right,
are in the
so
standings, they've given a lot of the top teams a hard time.
yeah, so Mississauga has, there's nothing to worry about there, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, but big game against North Bay on Friday. It's going to be, I don't know, you got to go with whoever you. I think they trust both guys, but maybe it's a Leanders thing. He's the number one, right? Still,
Yeah.
although they've both been good, Leanders is older, more experience, and I think he's going to lead them through the playoffs anyway. So.
And I did say at my article at the start of the season, start Ivan Kovic to 25 to 30 games. Starting him at 25.
Right.
Not bad. So I don't want to brag, but I think Jared might have maybe read my piece. I don't know.
He pinpointed that number. He said Mark has a good point at that 25 number. Let's get him there.
He does. We'll get him to 25. Just shut this guy up.
Yeah.
So, no, it's been great. So like I said, I've said they trusted him, and heck, go out tomorrow, no, Thursday, and see what happens.
Yeah. So I don't know what I would do, but I trust the coaching staff because based on the track record the last couple months, they've been doing well.
It's been a while since we could even trust the coaching staff.
Well, I don't know. I like Mississauga's coaching staff. I always think they've done a good job with some NHL prospects too. So.
Better than the James Boyd days, that's for sure.
But yeah, there were some darker days there. There were some darker days, but not to I've said it the last couple of weeks. Oh, these games are must win. They're all must win. Listen, this week they're must win. You have to pick up 2 points against Niagara. You absolutely have to. And then the next night is the last game of the year, and it's for seeding against North Bay. Like, they've been taking things one game at a time, and it's been working. And they've put in a really good last 15 games here.
Yeah.
And they have to win 2 more.
Exactly. I don't mean to cut you off there. I was going to say, in the standings, so North Bay has 80 points, Mississauga has 82.
Mm-hmm. 81 for North Bay.
Sorry, 81 for
Yep.
North Bay. And looking at it like this, so if North Bay can lose tomorrow, they're they'll still be 1 point back.
Mhm.
But Wednesday, sorry. And if Mississauga could win on Thursday, you got 84. You're 3 points up. All you need is a point essentially
Against them.
um, against North Bay.
Yeah.
So I mean, granted, if they fall the third, they fall the third. But right now they're in a comfortable position. They have a favorable playoff matchup right now against Kingston.
They do. I mean, you're looking at either. You're not going to play Barrie because I think Oshawa's kind of running away with it. They've won their last 10 in a row. I mean, it might actually be more. That's just their past 10 games. But anyway, Barrie's probably locked up that last spot there, like for sure. They're not moving
Yeah.
from that last spot. And then, so you're looking at Kingston, who's a pretty favorable matchup if you can finish in that 2 seed for the Central Division, which is still possible, but North Bay's still lingering. Sudbury's kind of still lingering. I don't think that's going to happen, but they're still there.
Sudbury fell off.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So, and then you're looking at Ottawa too, because you can fall to 3 as well. So there are some favorable matchups that they got out of that like 4 or 5 spot. That's a good thing that they're kind of out of there. Their play has taken them up. So that's good. But speaking of the Niagara game, let's get into, because it's big points. Let's get into this past week because we've praised the players, right? And
Yes.
we talked about how great the Steelheads play has been. There were some problems this week that I saw, even through the winning, and I think we have to address some things. So
Too many penalties.
too many penalties. And what's up with the power play, Mark? What is up with the power play?
Oh, okay. It's like my dad said, came to me on Friday to the game. They still pass a lot on the power play. They don't shoot.
They look for that perfect. They look for the play. You know what I mean?
I hate it. Just throw it on net, guys. That's it.
But I think the other problem is sometimes there is nobody in front. Sometimes
Just go
I've noticed
throw
that.
it on net.
Yeah, I've noticed that they've kind of gotten away because they were kind of doing this weird bumper thing earlier in the year, and nobody in front. I think that doesn't work personally. But
No.
now somebody's in front, but I still think they're afraid to throw it on. Obviously, you don't want to waste the puck, but they had a lot of opportunities in a couple games last week to score. So
Yeah, it's not even about wasting the puck. It's like you throw it on net, maybe you get a rebound.
yes,
Goalie deflects it, rebound, goal, great. But no, you pass it, you kill time, and then the other team gets it, puck is shut on the ice, power play's over.
yeah, and so if we come all the way back to last Tuesday, the Oshawa game, right? Special teams were terrible for both teams.
Oh yeah, that was awful. But also, I'll give Oshawa goalie credit. That guy played on his head.
He played fantastic, and I mean, you get the Steelheads were given every opportunity to win that game, and by a lot.
Yeah.
They went 0 for 8 on the power play.
0 for 8?
Yes, yes, in the game.
That just shows how much
Oshawa
we
was
were
taking
paying,
some
paying
terrible.
attention to the power play.
Yeah, Oshawa was taking some terrible penalties in the second and third. Like the third period, they gave the Steelheads every opportunity to win this game.
Yeah, the Steelers. I remember on Tuesday, the Steelers got a power play with like
2 minutes left.
4 minutes left in the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then obviously they didn't score.
No.
Then Oshawa scored like a couple minutes later.
Yep. And so Chaz Sharp opens the scoring. It was a nice goal, kind of a broken play, but it was nice to get them on the board. After that, I thought the Steelheads were going to win like 1-0. They really locked it down. They were looking pretty good.
Even Leanders played fantastic.
Leanders had a great game. It was Leanders' game against Oshawa was a quality, not so much quantity. Like he made some big. They didn't get too many shots, but he made some huge saves. Like
yeah, even on Friday's game, didn't get a lot of shots.
No, but he made some big saves, timely saves, when they need it. So Oshawa gets that goal in the third, and then obviously like broken play. You lose the face-off in overtime. They come down, they score the goal. It was not a great goal, but I mean,
no,
once you go to
legs
overtime,
yeah,
once you go to overtime, it's whatever, right?
Yeah.
You got a point out of that though. That was big, and that's the top team in the conference, and they're hot. I mean, they hadn't lost at that point in 8 or 9 games. So
yeah, no, they've been again. They played great against a team that they needed to beat, but obviously they didn't win. But they played fantastic and they got a point.
Yeah, and like you said, Leanders, I thought he played great in that game, and then Leskovar again, +1 on the game, throwing some big hits around. He was a pretty physical fact. Like that was a more physical, tight checking game, 1-0 game for a
And
lot
like
of it.
you notice him when he's on the ice because he's a big boy,
Hmm.
and like he does kind of get out of position a little bit because he goes for the hit.
Yep.
But I'm not going to complain because
No.
usually his goalies are going to save him, or he's got Sharp back there to help him out.
Hmm.
But no, he's been great, and he's only going to get good. He's got one more year left for the team, so he's got just get bigger and stronger. So
Yes,
he'll be what they need in the playoffs.
definitely.
The playoffs is more his game, and I'm looking forward to seeing him just chucking bodies left, right, and center.
Him and like
Um,
Boudreaux are gonna. That's when they'll come alive, I think, and
yeah,
they'll really.
yeah,
Because like I said, like Leskovar's been throwing like one huge hit a game, but then what happens in the playoffs when things are really tight and there's like room for more of those, and you have to. There's not going to be games where you get 6-7 goals. It's going to be
no,
tighter checking,
it's
right?
gonna be a tighter game, more hitting. It'll be Leskovar from the top rope, just give me an elbow to a guy. It's just fine.
Elbow from the
Playoff
top
hockey.
rope. Exactly.
So,
Underrated part of the game. I don't know if you caught this too, but looking at the stats and also just like through watching the game, Carmiers has been good in terms of putting up
yes,
points, right?
yeah,
One thing he does underratedly, I don't know, I haven't heard it, but underratedly, great face-off guy.
yeah, I've noticed that.
Very important. He
At the
went,
start of the season, I didn't see it, but like as time's gone on, like games I've been following, he's scoring assists, and you look at other stats like that. And again, there's a lot of guys, especially him, who remind me of like Zach Hyman type players,
Mhm.
and it's weird to me because like you don't want to compare everyone to Zach Hyman like on the team. Like they have that type of game where it's like they're doing face-offs, they're going to the net, they're scoring goals, and it's like,
very well
huh,
rounded.
exactly.
Mhm.
And that's what the Steelheads have in these guys, especially Ramirez.
Yes, he's exactly. He's the Swiss Army knife, as people.
He is.
He is the Steelhead Swiss Army knife. The
He's
second half
one
of
of
the year.
their Swiss Army knife.
One of their, yeah,
Yeah.
most effective in my eyes. He took 25 faceoffs on Tuesday, and he
5.
took 25. That is a lot. That's a lot. All right,
You rarely
and
ever hear in the OHL.
and he won. Yeah, and he won 17 of them. That's great. Like that's great numbers. That sample size in one game, like that's crazy, man. That's good work putting in there. So underrated faceoff guy. I had to give him a shout out for that. Thought that was fantastic. And then we move along to the next game. It was in Sarnia. We expected a win out of this one for sure.
Yeah, they went down, what, 2-0 early in the
It
game?
was 2-0 early, so I was a little worried. But it ended up, whatever they said in the first intermission, it worked. Because they really turned it on. Chad Sharp again leading the way. Second night in a row. Gets his first. McDonnell, like you said.
No, never mind. I was going to say, when's the last time they had a defenseman go off, I guess? Don't answer that question because I answered it for myself. I always forget about Nick Hague. I don't know why.
Yep.
And like, because that was the last time they've had like an offensive defenseman score like this, essentially, kind of.
Yep. And not only
Um,
Chad Sharp scoring, because he continues to do that, he has 18 goals on this season.
Correction, 19.
Right. Because that's right. Sorry.
Thanks OHL app.
No, it's because he scored yesterday. I'm looking at the stats from before he did score. In the game against Brantford, he scored a goal there. But he has been great. 19 goals on the season as a defenseman. That's great. Nick Hague, like we might compare everyone to him, but what he did that season with over 30 goals, that's like crazy. That was record stuff.
Yeah.
That's history.
Obviously, we're not going to compare like that in a way. We're just going to just like he scores 30, but like comparing him in a way where it's like what he's the last time like you've had a defenseman put up this amount of goals, because if he scores Thursday or Friday, it's 20 on the season.
Right. And 2 games left, and I'm sure he does it against Niagara. No offense, but Niagara is not a great team. He probably does it. And I'm sure they're all going to be looking for him.
100. He's basically Nick Hague, like light.
Yes. No. I mean, I wouldn't say similar playing styles, but
No, but like in a way where it's like scoring and defensively. That's another thing I want to mention about Sharp. He's good on both sides of the game,
he is
defensively and offensively. That is so rare
very good two-way guy
in hockey
and
today.
it is, because a lot of the defensemen coming up now are all offensive, and then you might find a couple guys that are just defensive, but to have
Yep.
both tools and to do it well, like not just like a mid player, to do it well, like it's hard to find.
And it sucks that COVID took away one of his seasons.
I know, yeah. That's the other thing with a lot of these players, honestly, that they lost an entire season and half of one. I think he started playing the first year that was cut short from COVID too. So
Yeah, 2020.
yeah, so again, the Steelheads just took over that game in Sarnia. Like Eggleton scores, which is great. His 6th on the year. He's starting to chip in more. Zabeski has been great. Zedlicki, we mentioned him earlier. Power play goal. Power play goal. They scored 2 of them in this game, so it's nice to get that going. And then Carmier is obviously empty netter, but nice to get on the board again. He has more than 10 goals. I'm not sure who would have projected that earlier in the year, but he's put in some great work second half of the season, so got to praise him for that.
He's done fantastic.
Has. That takes us to Friday night. I didn't like this game. I don't know how you felt about it.
Sloppy, boring.
From both teams.
Yeah.
And the Steelheads were not. And JR said it. I don't know if you caught the video or if anyone listening to this caught the video of the post game. He was not happy with that game. He was not. You could tell like the guys weren't playing together in this one, and it was
they looked tired.
They did. It was a busy week too, so understandable. But this is not a great team. This is a team that's trying to play spoiler against you too, and you have to pick up these points against this team. You did.
Yeah, well, the Roberts and the Glade for Niagara played really good.
Yep. No, they had a couple guys that were playing good. Like they were trying to play spoiler for sure. They had some guys flying out there, but Steelheads responded, and I thought that was great too. Right near the end of the game, but for the most part, a little bit troubling.
It's okay though. Once in a while that happens. Unfortunately, it happened. Like, you'd rather have the sloppier games against bad teams.
No, definitely.
That's the way you want it. Yeah.
Yeah, you want your the good habits to come out against better teams, right?
Yeah, because if you were to play that, if they played like that yesterday, they would have gotten killed.
Yeah. Then Eggleton scores 2 goals, gets his 7th and his 8th on the season. Last one was crazy, tipping in front. Finally, somebody goes to the net. I was like, oh my god, thank you. Nice tip in there, and then they shut it down the rest of the way. I wasn't really too concerned the rest of the game, which was good. Leanders made some big saves. He was great as well in that game. So that was fantastic to see too. And before we move on to the last game of the week, what did you think? I wouldn't say I was like emotional because it hasn't really hit yet, and it's not a huge deal because they're moving 10 minutes up the road. But I was like, I am witnessing the last Ice Dogs game in Mississauga at this moment, right? So did that hit you? Like, did you feel anything about that, or like?
A little bit, and just a lot of memories. Seeing them come in, or when they were here, and it just sucks that you're not going to see them in Mississauga, even as the away team.
Yeah.
It's like when we see them go to Brampton, like when Niagara goes to Brampton, they're like, okay, it's just another OHL team. In this case, it's no longer like, you're the team that used to play here, and the team you grew up cheering for, and then all that stuff. It sucks, but we're getting older, and time is just flying. And
yeah,
I've got a lot of memories with them and watching their battles when they used to play, Toronto, and when they had the battalion, like those games were just bloodbaths. So
yeah,
it sucks, but it hasn't really hit fully yet until I think the final playoff buzzer goes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, whenever the season ends, because it's a weird thing because it's going to end in the playoffs, so it could end whenever.
Yeah, it sucked for seeing the Ice Dogs, Friday after that buzzer hit. It's like, oh man, I'm not seeing the Ice Dogs one last time, but I think as a whole, once it'll hit
afterward. I think it usually happens that way.
Yeah, like the Ice Dog buzzer Friday, that hit. I had some memory flashbacks there.
Yeah. Some nice memories, and you said it well. Like there was always that kind of story of the Ice Dogs come back into their former home, and now that won't be a thing anymore, and that kind of connection is lost.
And you won't see. I mean, we'll probably still see old Ice Dog jerseys, yours on Friday, and it's like, I wish I'd worn mine, but they don't fit me anymore. They fit like a glove. So,
but, yeah, nice Ace Ventura reference, by the way, but. Yeah, I wore my RoboDog jersey to the game. I thought it was, I just had to do it. It was the last time they were there. But yeah, that story goes away. And I think at the end of the season, we can properly put it into words because I'm not there yet. The season's still going. There's things to be done.
And as you know, I did the Mississauga memory videos on the majors from the Mem Cup year. So planning on doing a Mississauga all-time article with like who my top 5 goal scorers were. And surprisingly, it's not a major or a steelhead who leads Mississauga in goals in like all 3 Mississauga team history.
It's kind of surprising, but let's not say who it is. We'll tease it for your article if anyone wants to know.
Go.
It's not who you think it is. I think that's interesting, isn't it?
It's very interesting. It threw me off today. It did surprise me. It didn't surprise me.
Right.
So
it kind of. I don't know. First time I looked it up, I was like, well, that's not who I expected. But anyway.
Sure.
Yeah, I think we'll probably be able to properly put it into better words once the season's done. So when we get there. Then, I mean, very surprising win Sunday in Brantford. I thought it was going to be a more
domination
game. They destroyed the Brantford Bulldogs. Like, it was 4-0 at the end of 2. Power play was clicking big time. 4 power play goals in this game. And then the third period, I mean, they let in 2 goals, but they dominated the whole game. They dominated the entire game. They took that personally, and they said, we're taking these points. We're taking these points from you. And you mentioned Fibberger at the start. Fibberger, great game. 3 assists.
Chad Sharp, 4 points.
4 points. And that's what he does. And great leader off the ice as well. And they get the job done. And I think that was something we were, worried about. This is Bradford is a pretty good team fighting for seeding again. So just queuing up the rest of the week. Mark, next time we see each other and we talk Steelheads, it'll be playoff time.
Looking forward to it.
Yes, sir.
Can't wait.
Let's hope the Steelheads win the division. It's still up in the air. They can do it. That'd be great.
Fingers crossed.
For more content, visit our YouTube channel and check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to follow the guys on social media at Matt_Mondays, at Nick LaFlame, and at Darius Dominguez.